Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, today we're going back to an area of the world that we've done a few times in the last couple of weeks. That being the Virginia, Maryland kind of area. We're specifically within Virginia today. And it's a challenging map, not an easy to play map, a challenging map that looks amazing, that has one flaw, and it's not the flaw that you're expecting it to be. I won't tell you too much about that until we get to the area. But yes, challenging with one flaw. What doesn't have a flaw though is my own quality of show. Oh, that's right, hitting the like button really does support my channel. Gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day, so thanks for your support. Being smug today. It's Shenandoah Valley today by Bear Joe, Bear with a 4 for an A. Let's have a little look at the start square, the river and the roads and fields and trees. Lots of trees on today's map. Then the terrain heights, it's a little bit lumpy. Yes, it's a lumpy map. Oh, ho, ho, ho. And then you've got your resources that look a bit like this. Definitely field painting going on, up to you whether you like that or not. And then off to the workshop. A few things to subscribe to. We'll be using the Stray Cats theme Homecoming. There's all the surface rocks to subscribe to. A few custom rail assets because they're great assets that can make things pop. And of course, with no prescribed LUT, we'll be using the realistic 1.2 because that's what you guys asked me to use. And that's why we use it. Okay. Looks great, this map. Looks really great. It's very lumpy, lots of roads. Speaking of lumpy, we've got bits like this between the roads, and to me looks more like unfinished work than an actual realistic feature. Like down here, this bit down here is definitely a glitch. And these two little glitches and a few bits like that are the sort of things that would be the difference between 4 stars and 5 stars for, say, aesthetics or detail, depending on which way I see fit to look at it. You may notice up in the top left there, a little building. That is our asset for the day. We'll be doing the asset review quite early on because we'll get to the start square pretty quickly. But yes, the whole map looks really glorious. Now this bridge is perfectly lovely. I just wonder if we could do a pillar in the middle there. We've got one on the far right. There's nothing over that side at all. So I would just prefer to see if we could have a long old hall there where I just have support there. I think would be better than one there, because that's right next to where the bridge starts. So that's just a thing, minor thing, but a thing. Yeah. Anyway, I think it was 500,000 trees. I think they said 500,000 trees. Definitely looks like it as well. Start square looks like that. Lots of buildable area, but it's not flat area. And we'll have a look at today's asset of the day. It's glorious. I could see Feindbild back producing some great stuff. There's the Chanels and there's the Rivores. Never heard of Rivory. And it's the asset is the Palazzo or Palazzo Generali, and it's great. It's great. Love the brick texture. I love the plain texture on the side there as well. We've got this little window that overlooks nothing. We have a little peek in there. Maybe somebody's undressing. Nope, nobody's undressing. Factoids, because factoids. In 1757, the Prince de Condé made love 12 times in a single night. To celebrate this event, he had his shirts, buttons and accessories marked with the figure 12. Okay then. Don't like to brag, but I did it 12 times in a night. Yeah, I'm exhausted now. But anyway, yes, that's a great little asset there. Palazzo Generali by Feindbild. Today's asset of the day. Back to the roads. And the bridge, this bridge is pretty solid. All perfectly aligned and no moans about that. Possibly, yeah, that's all good actually. I was about to say possibly a missing pillar, but there wasn't. Bit of a distance between the roads, but this part of America, I suspect this is fairly normal. It doesn't feel too bad. They separate up a little bit here for the intersection, and the intersection again is very slick and very nice, spread out over a largish area. But again, America, a lot of room to be building intersections in America. So then they do. They use as much room as they can. Clipping lamppost there. I haven't seen a clipping street lamp for a little while. It's not actually in the highway, so it's kind of a half a star loss because it's clearly wrong, but it doesn't actually affect any potential, silly gameplay rules that we might employ there. Lovely little lake there. There are lots of little lakes and water features going on in today's map. We'll have a look at a few of them. And then I kind of feel the roads get away from us a little bit, especially here. This bridge here just doesn't feel right. The rail alongside it, which we'll have a look at the rail in a minute, it's not parallel, but that's fine. Don't mind if the rail is probably an older thing and the road bridge put up alongside. But I feel maybe if it just feels a bit too elongated, I think. Here, clearly it's just elevated to ground. The ground is elevated up to the road level. Sorry, there we are. And it just doesn't feel right there either. Possibly a bit of foliage between the two in that ditch may have made that work. Then we've got more glitching between the roads down here. Again, not necessarily wrong. It just doesn't feel right. So come little grumbles there, and they get a little bit bump between there. So yes, just I feel that this part of the road layout was possibly rushed a little bit, which is a shame because overall the map looks amazing. Bridge isn't exactly leveled, not hugely an issue. I mean, not all bridges have to be exactly level, but quite often they do feel more realistic if they are. More glitching between the roads there. I'd like to see that leveled off between the roads, or possibly the roads brought back together. Would they build up two embankments to build two separate roads side by side with a hole in the middle? You're now going to send me loads of pictures in America where they do that, but it just looks a bit off to me, Coming up here, we've got a cutting, and I don't mind this too much. The trees on the side, though, I think I figured out what I don't like about them. Big trees on the side like this is you would see root systems, and of course these aren't built into the trees. The trees are supposed to stick out the ground, so short of making it look like there's some sort of root system actually hanging out of the bottom of the tree, I think they look a bit weird sticking out the side of just cliff faces like that. Smaller ones less so, but big trees like that, I feel that they probably it's a personal thing. Of course it's all a personal thing. If you disagree, that's personal to you too. Now the rail is where things are going to go a bit awry, I'm afraid. It looks great. Now the question is this an abandoned railway line? Okay, because we've not seen any trains on it, and it's an old texture, and we've got those old bridges. So yeah, okay, let's accept that it's an abandoned railway line, just for fun. And then down here, if we look over this bridge, you'll see that the rail gets disconnected. And that's kind of okay if it's an abandoned railway line. I could deal with that. And then over here is sort of like, so it's a bit missing. But look between. What is that little nobule of textured land there? What is that hill? That isn't right. That just isn't right. So that makes me question, is this a discontinued railway line? Or is it one that didn't get finished properly? Well, there are some more clues as we follow up the line. I'm going with the. I think it's meant to be an abandoned railway line, but it's one that hasn't been finished properly by the creator, and therefore it's actually a broken railway line. Okay, it's a broken railway line which is broken within the game too. So I'm a little bit. I don't really know what to do with this, especially when we've got custom assets subscribed to make it look amazing, and then it's not been done to the best of its ability. Like, I love this little bridge here. This looks great assets. A little bit of tree glitching through there, and once again, if it's an abandoned railway line, I can deal with that actually. I could deal with it. Then we've got hills. Now, abandoned or not, this is a little bit too steep a slope coming up here. We'll go down to ground level and you'll see we're climbing up here. This is too steep, but this isn't as bad as it gets. Oh no, madam. This gets worse. We're coming up to a double tier like here. This gets even worse, and it gets even worse than this, guys. It gets even worse than this. You ready? It gets like this. I'm afraid that no amount of excuses can allow for that. That is just weird. Very, very weird. So for me, it's a railway line that just isn't finished. Maybe again rushed to completion, possibly. This is a shame because overall the map is absolutely gorgeous. Tree on the line there. Tree on the line. I didn't expect to see that, but we've got that. It goes underneath the road, and we've got a little bridge effect going on there afterwards. Looks good again. A little bit of an incline again up the side of a hill, and then around through the start square. We're in the start square, guys. We've got the bridge there, a little bridge coming across, and then we go up to the bridge, which is not parallel with the highways. And I must say I'm okay with it, because if it's an old, oh look, and then the line ends. But where would that line go? Why is there no embankment leading off of it? Because there would be an embankment. Now the line does continue over here, and again, I could buy into this if it's discontinued. And yeah, look, see, ends into the trees, and you go, oh, where would that continue? Again, the ground drops off from underneath it, and I would like to see that embanked, because the embankments outlast the rail normally. So yeah, those two clearly meant to connect up, but I don't buy the route. Oh yeah, sure, the highway's being built through it, but there should be embankments. We've got a little bit of terrain glitching through it. Don't mind that too much. You can pretend that's soil that's growing onto it. Also a tree in the concrete. Yeah, that less so. I could deal with the glitching, but the tree less so. And then across here, and then off towards the edge of the map, which means we can take a breather, possibly. It's the playlist of the week, featuring 5 of the lowest rated maps of all time ever to appear on the show, getting just 20 stars between them. Curious to see more? I thought you might be. Click that button now. And so back to Shenandoah Valley by Bear Joe. This isn't going to be one of the lowest rated maps of all time, I'll tell you that. It's nowhere near as bad as the ones that you saw there. And I'm sorry for those maps to be, but they were just poor. Poor or worse than poor. Then let's have a look at the water flow. The water flow is, because we had no shipping routes, obviously, you saw that. The water flow, it's a river, it's a working river. The water is flowing down the river, and I can't really grumble about this, actually. The water flow is pretty good. As we go through the start square, is there enough water flow going through the start square? Let me have a little look. That looks workable, I think. I think so. Through the start square. Put it back on and see how it continues onwards and through. But I'm buying this, you know. The terrain, I'm completely 100%. It feels natural, it feels normal, and it feels believable. And this river route feels, it doesn't feel forced. It feels just general. It feels good. It feels real. Okay, let's have a little look at the map as a whole, and it looks real. Okay, yeah, field painting is bringing out the realness, so if you're looking possibly to do some fertile land where there isn't fertile land, you might have some issues. But if you're a detailer, this is going to be a great map to build on, apart from the rail, of course. Let's have a little look-see at some terrain lines. There we are. Just to show you how not flat the map is, even in the start square. Let's go and find the start square in a minute. So let's, here we go, right about here. Not much flat space there at all. So when I said challenging at the start of today's show, I genuinely mean it's a challenging map to be building on. You have to use all of your skills here. Lots and lots of trees. Dozens. There's at least 7 that I've seen already. Yeah, and the hills. It's just the whole thing. The whole thing has just got a real natural feel. The tree coverage as well. Look at this. It's come down to, oh, sorry, splashed into the water a little bit there. Let's have a little look at the tree coverage. The density of forests here is strong enough. It's definitely strong enough. It just feels, again, very natural, very real, and I buy into that completely. So have we got anything else we can have a look at? Different shapes of fields, like round fields. Think of America, you always think of these big square fields or the big circular fields, but no, those are great. This is interesting. Just a change from the norm. I don't have a problem with these prop lines. They really prop line trees, but the placement of those I can buy into. Also on this side here, we do have some drowned trees. And again, this is fine. I'm looking at those and I'm believing that they are actually, one or two. They've just a little bit of the banks have washed away a bit, and they're in the water. I don't necessarily always mark down maps for drowned trees. Just got a little bit of a water source going on there, and it's all good. So wowzers, have we covered everything? Oh, actually no, we haven't. Somewhere around here are some hills in the fog. There we go. Might need to switch the fog off. There we go. And yeah, these are foreboding hills. Now, we've got a lot of tree coverage right up to the edge of the map. And if you're a completionist and you really want to have trees where there should be trees, then that's great. But there's a lot of trees there. There's a lot of trees. So trees you'll never be using or seeing. Anyway, what do you think of this map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewers' Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Well, only you can decide. Me, I kind of like it. But the question is, how are you going to vote regarding those broken bits? Good question. For me, anyway, aesthetically, I was very close to giving this 5 stars. Very, very close. Just those little glitchy bits of terrain between the highways, and even the one that there are bits there that are definitely not right. Okay, you might argue some of them, but some of them are definitely not right. So 4 stars anyway. Detailing, and again we're going back to that. Overall, I think we could be talking a 4-star map, but there's big problems with the rail, and for that, especially that big chunk, 3 stars. Gameplay potential, I think it is playable. It's a tough map to play, but there are question marks regarding the rail. I just don't know what is going on there. I'm gonna have to, out of doubt, I'll just give it 3 stars. 3 stars for gameplay. It's a tough map, a challenging map, but good to see. Shenandoah Valley by Bear Joe. I better say Bear 4. No, Bear Joe with a 4. Yes. Yeah. I don't really know with that one, to be honest with you. I know it's too challenging for me to take on as a map to play, but if you're skilled and you're looking for that sort of thing and you don't care about the rail, that's your map, mate. That's your map. Anyway, thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing. Join me tomorrow for another map in the What Map series, and what's coming up this weekend. All part 2 of the map of the year. Look out for that one. Who's going to be the map of the year?